Oh, yo, YouTube! So we're watching Lauren Chen. Is European history too white? Probably. I wonder why. Let's see. So this is gonna be probably a bit racist for some people. Fuck them. I don't care. There's people going so far as to argue that basically any ethnicity outside of like Ireland, England, Sweden, and Norway aren't white. And this is what happens when you essentially shame people for existing. I'm not mixed race because I'm half Ukrainian. And yeah, I'd consider Italians to be white. Deal with it. If you're pushing diversity so far to the point of actually causing divide, then something isn't right. White people had to come from somewhere after all, and the solution isn't to rewrite history and recast actual white figures in the name of cheap quotas and pats on the back. The solution is to tell diverse ethnic stories. We don't need Black Anne Boleyn. We need Queen Amina of Nigeria. That's how you respect diversity without pandering to it. Respect, my man. He knows his shit. He knows Queen Amina of Nigeria. Overall, though, I agree. It's like, stop fighting the past. What happened in the past is the past. Accept it, move on, make better choices in the future. You want to find like some cool black people who did some cool shit, that's fine. But like, move on, bro. Whatever happened. Get on with it. This is a very bizarre concept because the idea of what constitutes white has changed. The definition has essentially become everything except Germanic is not white. This leaves Celtic, Slavic, and Southern European, Latin, people to be essentially people of color now. This idea now conflicts with what European history is. Does it include Spanish history, Italian, Russian, Breton, Slovak, even Egyptian history because they invaded Europe? Well, no, not anymore, because all of those people are either not white or some kind of mixed race. And Persia as well, which is essentially equivalent to non-white now. It's very bizarre as a European of Northern Spanish, essentially Celtic, and Slavic descent, being told I'm a POC, mostly in North America, but increasingly too in Northern Europe. POC? Piece of crap. Because in Europe, we consider ourselves to be white. The other caveat to this narrative is the obvious. Is Japanese history too Japanese? Is Chinese history, minus the brief Mongol dynasty, which itself is Sinicized, too Sinocentric? Is Arab history too Arabocentric? The obvious answer to these questions is no, but that conflicts with radical liberal narratives. The radical left has managed to obfuscate, what a word, what it means to be white or Caucasian, to the point that different ethnic groups of Caucasians no longer see certain groups as the same. White, like every other racial group, has a spectrum of different phenotypes and ethnicities. Radical leftists have destroyed this idea and pigeonholed what it means to be white in order to divide and destroy European history and tradition. Damn, that was a heavy one. This guy knows what he's writing. But does anyone else think, and this is like conspiratorial as fuck, does anyone else think that the reason this is happening is because someone, maybe, could be, is trying to divide the people more and more? Divide and conquer, fellas. Divide and conquer. Number one strategy, you know? Sun Tzu, we hear you. Divide and conquer. So yeah, and I feel like, yeah, we are more and more divided as a people to the point where we fight ourselves, and the people who are like in the government, people who are like actually in control, people who have all the money, they're just like, look at these idiots fighting amongst themselves. Fucking sheep. Fucking sheeps and wolves fighting among themselves. They don't even realize they're already locked in the farm anyways. They can do whatever they want, but they're not going anywhere. We control them. Control. Or, again, or it could be that it's just a coincidence that makes sense. I don't know. Anyways, Lauren Chen, what's up?
Let's talk about history's disappointing lack of diversity. I do want to apologize for the way that my hair looks, and also the lighting is not the best right now. But you know what? This is going to be the last video featuring On the Road Lauren, because as of the next video, we will be back in our Nashville studio, and things will just be a lot more regular and and
she moved to Nashville?
Smoothly. Not that this little road trip / jaunt in the summer hasn't been fun, but I am definitely looking forward to being back home, back in our studio. So we all know that diversity is a pretty big deal nowadays, so much so that it's even retroactively affecting history. For example, now when there are shows based off of historical events or people, it's not uncommon for studios or the casting people, directors, to insert maybe some POC where POC probably or definitely didn't exist. Case in point, I'm sure a lot of you remember that a lot of eyebrows were raised when a black woman was cast to play Anne Boleyn, who we do know definitely for sure 100% was white. And it's not just Hollywood trying to diversity wash, or I guess black slash.
But she's an actress. It doesn't matter what skin she is. Meanwhile, how come they're not hiring a trans person to play a trans person in a movie? I can't believe it. They're discriminating against trans people. They should hire trans people to play trans people. Okay. Then they should hire white people to play white people. No. That's not the same, Michael. It's not the same. Okay? White people are overrepresented everywhere in history, in books, and all that stuff. So clearly we can't have white people playing white people. We need more people of color playing white people to make it look more realistic. Oh, you want to make it look realistic? What's the population percentage of people of color? What is it, like 30%? Okay, so for every 7 white people, there should be 3 black people in the movie. Okay, what's the population of black people in like Eastern Europe, where, you know, certain stories are told, like the Viking stories and all that stuff? Oh, they didn't have black people. Oh, well, we still gotta make it 7 and 70-30. You know, it's like, I mean, it is what it is. We had black Vikings. They were not slaves or anything.
Brown wash history, because this type of thing is actually coming from semi-legitimate and educational institutions as well. For example, the History Channel has been criticized for things like female Vikings, probably hard.
The History Channel has also been pushing aliens.
Harder than is merited. Not to mention the show Vikings Valhalla also features a black female Viking leader.
Yep, that's the one I'm talking about.
Would not have happened.
Nope.
Although keep in mind,
not
the
even
History
close.
Channel is
and again, did I like the season? Yes. Did she act it well? Yes. But should she have been cast? Probably not. Again, if you don't think about it, it doesn't matter. For me, it didn't matter. I was totally cool with it. I don't care. If she was the best actress for the role, that's why they hired her. I'm totally fine. I'm not overthinking like History Channel bullshit, right? But that also means that I'm taking this more as fiction now rather than history. And for what it's worth, the show Vikings, outside of like I believe 1 season, was more than half fictional, right? It was just like they dramatized a lot of stuff and whatever. And they used people's names that existed and approximately followed history to how it happened, but the minuscules in between was not really how it happened. So again, do I care that the new Jarl of, or whatever, the new ruler of Kattegat is a black woman who was probably a slave and somehow became the ruler? No, I don't give a shit, man. It doesn't matter. But you shouldn't be forcefully pushing it. Why is she the only black person too? If she's like in power, wouldn't there be more black people in Kattegat? You know, isn't she racist for not having more black people in Kattegat then?
Also the channel that has brought us Ancient Aliens, so I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Even educational nowadays, who can tell? And
dude, I love Ancient Aliens. I don't know if it's still going, but like the first season, oh my god, was so good. It makes you think, you know? It does make you think. And I haven't heard a lot of, I haven't looked though, to be honest, a lot of disputes to some of the stuff that they said there about like Egyptian walls and like the pyramids and like all that stuff, like how it was built. How come all these pyramids were pretty much the same design? Some of them are even underwater. Like how come and like they're also located in certain areas towards the stars or some shit. Like it was crazy, like in weird information. But again, they could be just saying it, right? Like everything everything take with a grain of salt. They could be just saying it's like, oh yeah, like when they built it, 3,000-4,000 years ago, the stars were aligned in this way, and it showed it was like all of the pyramids were located on the world in this manner, and created this seal, an alchemical seal that made gold out of the ground, and the aliens wanted the gold because that was their fuel to travel between stars. You're like, bro, maybe, but you could be wrong. It's like they're saying it with such confidence, but like it could be wrong, right? It's like, oh, the stars were aligned. Okay, it was in this position. Okay, am I gonna research and disprove it? F no. But like, I'm also not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's totally happened. Yeah, aliens.
Good news for the people who are pushing this false diversity narrative is that it actually seems to be working. There are a shocking number of people nowadays who really do believe that history looked like a Netflix show, which was simply not the case. We're going to be going into examples of this.
I would say that is a problem when you watch like shows about like certain histories or stuff like that, and like you see a battle. Let's say you have a massive battle in England and France, one of those like battles and stuff like that, and like for no reason there's like half the people there are black, and you're like, and like some are Asian and some are, it's like, bro, how is that possible, right? And you start thinking that that is actually the case. I'm sorry, Lauren, that I paused you in such a weird position, but it seems to be the case, right? It's like if you're gonna talk to like someone young who just like, who was watching Netflix historical shows, right? Not actual like history, but like just shows about that use historic background as their theme. And they'd be like, yeah, of course there were like a ton of black dudes in here and there. And it's like, bro, no, there weren't. It's like, how many black dudes were in World War II? Not a lot, because the Nazis really hated blacks. I'm just saying.
But first, I do want to say thank you to today's sponsor, Virtual Shield. A new investigation technique being used by law enforcement officials actually uses your Google search history against you. It's making privacy rights activists everywhere absolutely furious. You see, police have been good news.
Just delete your history.
Using what's known as a reverse keyword search, which allows them to use Google search histories to find someone who may have committed a crime. The problem with that is that it's also obviously a huge violation of our privacy.
Just use incognito, bro. The history doesn't get saved. If you're looking for something illegal, first of all, use dark web. But second of all, if you're not, at least use incognito so they can't look at your history. Oh, but incognito still like cookies. Yeah. But she just said they use your history, so incognito doesn't save your history.
Privacy rights. And that is exactly why I've turned to Virtual Shield. All the privacy tips and tricks out there simply do not do what Virtual Shield does. It's an industry-leading VPN with a strict no-log policy, so even they can't see what you're doing.
I hate when they said something, that's why I chose Virtual Shield. I'm like, you didn't choose it, you were sponsored by it, okay. Just say I believe in Virtual Shield or something. That's like, this is not why you use it. You use it because they sponsored you or whatever. Could have just easily used NordVPN or some shit like that.
Virtual Shield helps protect your data from corporations, hackers, ISPs, advertisers, and pretty much anyone else.
Wait, also, wasn't Virtual Shield like a massive fucking virus or some shit like that? I remember having something like Virtual Shield, and it just kept fucking popping out on my screen and shit. It was really fucking annoying. Then later on, I found out it was a virus, and I couldn't remove it. Every time I tried to remove it, like, it would start deleting Windows files, and like then my computer would not start, and shit, so I had to like format. Really pain in the ass. I believe it was Virtual Shield.
Attempting to track or spy on you. But simply, Virtual Shield puts the control of your private data back into
the symbol is similar too.
The cool news is that viewers of this channel are eligible for Virtual Shield's free 30-day trial plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. However, this is only for a limited time, so start your trial right now by going to virtualshield.com/LaurenChen. Again, that is virtualshield.com/LaurenChen. You can also click the link below. Between the free trial and the money-back guarantee, guys, you have nothing to lose. So in addition to following...
Yeah, you do your time, your patience, and probably your money, because every time there's a money back guarantee, good luck getting it, you know?
Cringe noteworthy political accounts on Twitter, I also follow some general interest ones as well, including accounts that talk about history. And so the other day I saw this retweet of this admittedly older post that was a recreation of what Roman emperors would have looked like. We got Hadrian, Augustus, Aurelian, and Tiberius. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing because so often with these historical figures, we just see them through like marble sculptures or these really ornate paintings, and it kind of removes the, I don't know if realism is the right word here, but I don't know about you guys, but I just find it a little bit harder to view these historical figures as actual people just like you or me, which is why I like those AI recreations that kind of make them look more like a modern day person or more realistic, because it reminds you like, oh yeah, this was an actual living, breathing person who went on to do these cool things. So yeah, totally not related to politics, but then I started scrolling through the comments section, which we all know by now is never a good idea. One comment in particular stood out to me was by this user who
why did you make them all so
white? And similarly, another
on purpose to trigger people, probably because they were all so white. White was, by the way, if you don't know this, like in way back when, being like super white means that you were taken care of. Super white and kind of fat. Okay, it means that you were in a higher society, not because they're racist, but because you don't work the fields. You work the fields, you're like a peasant. So your skin gets darker from the sun. If you are a nobleman, you are super white because you do not see the sun at all. You live indoors with your fucking, hand fan.
Their commenter weighed in, maybe if they were Swedes. And of course, I'm not unaware of the great debate of our time, whether Italians are in fact white. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.
As far as I can see from all the Italians I've met, they're white. They just tan really fucking fast. But they're white.
But basically, there were some individuals here who were not so happy with how light-skinned or fair these Roman emperors were being depicted as. I guess they were thinking, as this one person puts it, blonde, Latins have black hair, stupid Anglo-Saxon invaders. This is an insult to the Roman Empire to give them the aspects of a barbarian. So I'm not sure what mother tongue that person has, but I'm getting...
Wasn't Caesar blonde? Julius Caesar. Was what hair coloring? It was blonde. Most popular hair coloring in ancient Rome was blonde, to associate with the exotic and foreign appearance of people from Gaul, present-day France and Germany. Roman prostitutes were required by law to dye their hair blonde in order to set themselves apart, but many Roman women and men followed suit. Okay, so they colored their hair. Okay, what color was Caesar's eyes? I think it was blue, right? Caesar's hair color. Roman army talk. Whatever. I thought Caesar was dark-haired, if not even black-haired, perhaps only because I'm influenced by movies. I know serious historians that are so numerous in form. Okay, blah, blah, blah. In another topic about the new film about Alexander the Great, our respected fellow rat member, Theodosius the Great, wrote that Julius Caesar was blonde. Oh, shit! Caesar was blonde. God damn, man.
It's not English. And also
impossible.
Here that the disagreement comes from the fact that nowadays when people think of Italians, perhaps they think of more swarthy people. But as other people in the thread pointed out, even today there are blonde Italians, especially in the northern part of Italy. And also in the past, despite Italy being kind of Mediterranean, there likely would have been less mixing, and we know that a lot of mixing did occur between Italians and the rest of the Mediterranean, but a lot of that might not have happened at the time these emperors were alive. So yes, they very well may have been fairer skinned, and that's not even to mention the fact, as others pointed out, that for many of these emperors, we actually do have descriptions of what their hair color and eye color was. But for others who were so upset that these Roman emperors were so white, I can't help but wonder whether they genuinely believed that ancient European history looked like the Black Anne Boleyn series. Because don't get me wrong, history was diverse in that all countries and all peoples have their own histories, and so therefore it's just not right to say that history is confined to what Europeans did, because it's not. And especially when it comes to bigger cities, maybe those long trade routes, you would have people from different countries, different cultures mixing together, coming through, and there would be diversity in that. But if you ask me, it's pretty dang ignorant to think of somewhere like maybe ancient Rome and assume that it would look like modern day cities like Los Angeles or New York and be as diverse as those metropolitan hubs. And frankly, I just find it very narcissistic to assume that just because, you know, modern day cities look a certain way, that means that ancient cities in Europe also had to have mandatory diversity. Because yes, I know it may be unpopular to say this nowadays, but Europe historically was pretty dang white, and actually on a similar...
yeah. Because they conquered shit. Like, white people, they conquered shit. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't even know, like, why this is a question. Yeah, Europe is for the most part white. Was. Not now. I mean, Western Europe is not that white. But, like, where in Europe do you have... Like, if you think of a place in Europe, I can't imagine a place that is not like, you know, if I'm thinking of a French person, I'm thinking white. I'm thinking of German person, I'm thinking white. Italian, I'm thinking white. Russian, I'm thinking white. Latvian, I'm thinking white. Sweden, I'm thinking white. And like, what's it called? Iceland, I'm thinking white. I'm always seeing like, are there only white people there? No, but it's like, if you think about it, yeah, you think white person, right? It's like, who lives there? Not now, obviously, like, fucking France is, like, half Muslim, okay? Like, so, like, they're, like, you know, not exactly white Caucasians, but... So, like, why is this...
It's also true that places that are not white now may have been whiter in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically talking about ancient Egypt here. Yeah, because we have another facial reconstruction.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
It's just making people on Twitter angry. We have this post, which reads, facial reconstruction of Ramses II, the greatest pharaoh of ancient Egypt, who ruled about 3,300 years ago. And pictured we have what looks to be a white man, a kind of actually gingerish white man. Now, as other people in the comments pointed out, Ramses II was known as having red hair, and he was also born in Egypt at a time when the Arab influence in the area was not as great as it is today, because, you know, there was a little bit of a spread of a certain religion that kind of changed demographics a bit. But once more, so many people seem to just not be having it, and this is similar to the discussion that happens every time that Cleopatra comes about, because Cleopatra has a Ptolemy as she was white, but people think, oh, Cleopatra, Egyptian queen, oh, she must be dark-skinned. As is one user with his pronouns in his bios pointed out, I don't think he was white, bruh. It's kind of funny to me how it's a good thing and important.
You thought that's where your problems began, my dude.
And the popular thing to do to point out that European history was actually filled with more POC than we thought, but when it comes to the history of a country that is not in Europe, then all of a sudden it's actually really unpopular and racist and unscientific to point out that, oh, actually these people, these figures may have been fair-skinned. And since Ramses was an Egyptian, there's also this really weird thing on the internet where some people think that ancient Egyptians were black. Yeah, this is a thing that actually happens, and I'm jealous of you if you were not aware of this before, but yeah, a bunch of people on...
Yeah, I heard something because of the Cleopatra thing. It wasn't like it was mainstream, but it wasn't like in your face. Well, it didn't last long as far as like outrages go, but yeah.
Think that ancient Egyptians were black. Case in point,
no.
Because one user asked, why is he white? Pharaohs were Ethiopians with a black skin. Shame on those racist scientists. Someone else weighed in saying he's supposed to be black. Another person, I thought he was African with a black skin complexion. I'm not sure if this misunderstanding arises from the fact that Egypt is in Africa, and a lot of people think that all Africans have really darker skin, even though...
Yeah, specifically South Africa, right?
And today, if you look at Egyptians, they're still not black.
They're not.
Neither are Algerians. Yeah. I just feel like this is all part of a greater...
Somalians are black as fuck, though. And they run from Africa through Egypt to Israel. Is it Somalians? I've only said Somalians. Pretty sure it's Somalians.
Push to retroactively go back to
maybe that's the
history and
Egyptians they mean.
more black and brown people than there may have been for political reasons, because you're trying to undermine white people not just today but also in the past.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
To rewrite history, it's not just happening for things that happened thousands of years ago.
It's more like, why? Like, if you think deep down, like, why do you hate the white people so much? Like, oh, they caused slavery. Everyone caused slavery. Well, they were occupying a land. Okay, like, what, like, oh, so? I don't understand the arguments. Like, oh, they were occupying lands, and everyone is occupying lands. It's just that the whites did it better or like controlled more land. Like, it's not like North America is not controlled by black people. I don't understand this obsession with like white is bad. Like, I don't understand this. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Right? Even the ones who go like with the racism card, it's like, bro, you didn't live in those times. You don't know anyone who lived in those times. Okay? You don't know if the slave masters that owned the slaves mistreated them or not. Which, by the way, I'm not saying they should have slaves regardless. You don't know who sold those slaves. You don't know who captured those slaves. You don't know if the conditions that they were in were as poor as you assumed they were. Right? I don't get it, man. Now, I heard an argument about the states where it's like it was supposed to be the land for the free, no matter race, ethnicity, and all that stuff, but didn't apply to black people. I heard that. Again, it happened in the past. It sucks. Move on. Plenty of white people are still slaves everywhere. Plenty of black people are still slaves in places, right? Plenty of Asians are still slaves in places. Yes, slavery is a thing. Move on. It happened. It sucks. Be thankful you don't live in those times. Appreciate what you have. Move on with your fucking life. Stop wasting time on history, man. It's like, because again, what people want is like, well, white people had slaves before, then I think it's the black people's turn to have slaves. No. You just said slavery is bad, right? So why would you want to put it on someone else? Well, it's only fair. How is it fair? I wasn't a slave master. Why would you want to enslave me? Makes no fucking sense to me. I didn't do shit. I was born into this, you know? How is it my fault that like my ancestors were like slave traders or some shit? Not that mine were. Not saying they were, but I'm just saying, like, you know, the sins of the father end with the father unless the son carries on. It has nothing to do with the generations to come.
It's also happening for things that happened maybe just generations ago, i.e. things where we have really good documentation, proof, and even photographs of what the people looked like. For example, somebody may be aware that there is a new film coming out called Oppenheimer, which follows the life of the scientist Oppenheimer. It's going to be directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer.
Bro.
I'm super stoked. It's
Holy fuck.
Nolan and starring
Bro, like, he actually looks like him.
I'm super stoked. I can't wait for that. Essentially,
That looks
the film
cool.
is going to be based on the Manhattan Project.
Bro, I like that actor. He's such a good actor. So, he needs more movies, man. He needs, like, more A-list movies. I love that he makes all these, like, drama, like, old mobster movies and all that shit. I love it. He plays such good villains, but, like, he needs more fucking main movies, man. It's crazy. That actor is so fucking good.
And well, when the cast list,
I don't know his name. I forgot his name. I just didn't recognize him.
Some of the different actors who are going to be appearing in the film, and it does look like a pretty star-studded cast. Let
me see who is. Okay. Isn't it the guy from The Mask, the evil guy? Either way, good actor. I don't know her. At least I don't recognize her. Good actor. Don't recognize. I love him in Mr. Robot. Not sure where I know him from. Looks familiar. Don't know him. Looks like Justin Trudeau. Don't know him. Oh! Hey! That's the guy from... What's it called? The evil superhero series. Fuck, forget the name. The Boys. All right, that's cool. Don't know him, 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 don't know her, don't know him, don't know him, don't know him, don't know, 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 don't know. Now, if you were gonna say something like, "Oh, well, he doesn't know all the any of the female actresses," yes, I also only know like 5 of the guys here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Out of all these guys, okay? Maybe if there was like more women, maybe I would know one of them, okay? Like, but yeah. I don't know most of these people. So he looks familiar.
Features some of the different actors who are going to be
appearing
in the
film,
and it does look like a pretty star-studded cast. A lot of great actors there, a lot of talent attached to this project. Definitely tons to speak about, but what Twitter wanted to discuss was the whiteness of it all. As this one meme asks...
Also, I know that the first guy in the picture, I know that this is the guy that she showed here, right? Like, I know that's him. I get it. I was just saying he looks like the guy from... In that picture, he looks like the guy from The Mask. It might actually be him. I don't even remember if the guy from The Mask is actually him.
White. But thankfully, as someone else...
Why are you white? Jesus Christ.
Real people that we actually know what they look like, and he also included a photo of the Man Project, and we can see here. Yeah, it looks like a lot of Caucasians, which... isn't necessarily a bad thing, or so I would have thought.
Now, the thing is, if you want to go down that route where it's like, oh, the people don't present, if I'm not mistaken, half of these are Jewish. I'm just saying. More likely than not, half of them are Jewish. I'm just saying.
Thoughts, but that didn't stop others from criticizing the film, even though it hasn't come out yet, and even though it's accurately portraying the people that it's about.
Bro, I want someone to interview Robert Downey Jr. and play Where's Waldo trying to find any... What's POC? Person of color. Oh, that's POC. A piece of crap. Person of color here. The cast of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer so far. I want one of these guys to be interviewed. I prefer if it was Robert Downey Jr. And it's like, what do you think about the cast being all white and not having diversity? He's like, well, we are basing it on real people who were all white. Yeah, but what do you think about like lack of diversity? It's like, well, was there diversity in the real story? No. Okay, so yeah, so that's what the movie's about. Yeah, thanks for the question. Next. Just like, no fucks given. It's like, yeah, there's no diversity in this. Why? Because everyone involved was fucking white!
Commenting things like, you can play Where's Waldo, trying to find any POC here. Like, I know historically Hollywood had a problem in that they only wanted to tell certain types of stories to the exclusion of others, which I am not really a fan of, because I want all types of stories being told, and I think there's been a big improvement of that. And I also know that historically speaking, actors who weren't white weren't given the same consideration. I understand that things needed to change in Hollywood from what they were like in the 60s and 70s, but it's like, if we've gone...
It's fine if it has to change. I think everyone is for it to be a fair fucking environment, but you can't force change. If you force change, people resist. Okay? There needs to be a better way to do this. You can't just be like, well, this is based on white people, then we're gonna put all black color. Now, what you can do is put a spin that everyone was black and change some stuff of the story. Sure, maybe make a pair, like, you know, what if like the people who were in this environment were actually people from the hood? What if people from this environment were actually like fucking gamers who went back in time? You know, like some weird shit like that. Then, yeah, sure, whatever. It's a hypothetical, you know? You can do hypotheticals in movies. I'm totally fine with that. But you can't just, like, be, like, based on true events and then just go full ballistic with the cast, right? It's like, then it's not based on true events. Right? That's what it is.
To a point now where we can't even have a movie based on people who were white and still keep the actors who portray those people as
I want to see... Here's the best part, though. And everyone knows this. If this movie was about all black people, and there was even one white person representing a black people would lose their shit. People would lose their fucking shit. But you can't do the same otherwise, right? It's like, well, why can't you put a black person instead of a white person? Well, why can't you put a white person instead of a black person? Oh, that's racist. You can't do that. That's racist. Okay, so you can put a black person instead of a white person? Like, that's also racist. No. No, you can't be racist against, like, no, like, it doesn't work that way. No, 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 no. White people are racist, black people are not racist. You can't be racist against that. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, fuck off, double standard Andes. Get the fuck out of here. Your bullshit.
I think there's a problem here. But of course, there are those who disagree with me, like Carol Ann here, who says that giving this Oppenheimer movie a diversity pass because it's historically accurate just gives every other white male filmmaker free reign to use the same excuse for why they won't cast minorities / women. Not that it wouldn't make sense isn't the excuse they've always used.
Let's write exactly what. Let's say exactly what she says, but we're gonna change it, okay? Giving this Oppenheimer movie a diversity pass because it's historically accurate just gives every other black male filmmaker free reign to use the same excuse for why they won't cast majorities or men. Not that it wouldn't make sense, isn't the excuse they've always used. Now, if she wrote that, imagine how many dislikes on Twitter, right? If she, like, literally reversed it. That's the hypocrisy, though. I can't believe people, like... I want to believe people are smarter than this. I really do. But holy fuck, man. Whenever you write some shit like this, reverse the roles and tell me if it sounds racist. If it does, it's racist on the other end as well. You can't make this statement and say it's not racist because it's targeting majorities and men, but if it's targeting minorities and women, it's racist. And you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Racist is racist. Doesn't matter who's the majority, who's the minority. You can be racist against white people. I'm sorry, it's true.
It's like, look, I know you love diversity, and diversity is very important to you.
Yeah.
You can't rewrite the past in the name of your political ideology, and frankly, the fact that you're even trying to do so is Orwellian. That's pretty much all I have to say for now, though, and as always, I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think this push for diversity has kind of gone a little bit too far, especially in regard to when we're talking about history, or do you think that maybe it's not exactly a bad thing to embellish the facts if there's a chance that it makes people more accepting?
This diversity thing has gone too far, like, 5 years ago. Okay, like, that's how far, like, that's when it was already too far. Now it's just fucking, like, are you not sick of it at this point?
In the present, I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out so much. Until next time.
Fat feminist comedy, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's the video. Lauren Chen, the previously known as the roaming millennial, I believe. Right? Political and social commentator. She was born in Canada, raised in Hong Kong, and came to the US for university. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science with a minor in Middle East Studies and Arabic. Interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, she has a P.O. box and everything. Oh, so she still lives in Canada. Okay, interesting. Because she said she's, like, her main house is in Nashville. Maybe the P.O. box is in Canada, and then they send it to her afterwards or some shit. Like, someone is, like, filtering it out. Anyways, yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.